What is metabolism? How do you access it? We'll be answering these questions and more.
Welcome to the doterra Show, where we're exploring the science behind MetaPWR Metabolic Blend. We are so thrilled to share our MetaPWR experts with you. Today, we are learning from Dr. Nicole Stevens and Lauren Bush.
I love learning from Nicole and Lauren. They're truly experts at taking the in-deep science topics and translating it for everyday people. You don't need a PhD to understand how your metabolism works.
Great, let's pass it to them and learn from them.
All right, welcome everyone. I am so excited today to be joined by our VP of Clinical Research, Dr. Nicole Stevens. And we're going to dive into the research and the science behind one of our favorite blends, MetaPWR.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to hang out with you. Okay, so let's kick it off first with let's talk about what is metabolic health, because I think people have this preconceived notion when they hear the word metabolism. Maybe the only word that comes to mind might be weight, but metabolic health is so much more than that. So want to explain it?
Yeah. So metabolic health, it really is at the heart of life, right? This is our cells converting glucose from the food that we eat into energy to run our cells. And the more efficiently we can do that, the better we function, right? And it's when that starts to go awry that we run into problems like problems with fat storage and problems with, really any system in our body starts to go bad. Even aging, we have a problem with.
Absolutely. And I think that maybe we've been misled over the last few years about what is actually healthy. We've been told it's a great way to start your day is with carbs. And now we know it's probably not the best outcome to start our day with carbohydrates. And we know our foods are laden with chemicals that make them addictive, that make us crave them.
And packaged.
And they have none of the nutrient value, right? So we've been kind of set up for failure. And then people think, I've done something wrong, but really we just needed some extra tools in our toolbox.
So our system isn't supportive, but luckily our doterra products are very supportive. So that's what I love about this MetaPWR system is these products are designed to work together to support a healthy metabolism. So we've got our MetaPWR oil blend that's going to help with healthy fat storage. We've got our assist that's going to help with healthy levels of your blood glucose after eating. And then we've got our MetaPWR Advantage that's going to help with healthy and beautiful aging. And don't we all want that?
Absolutely. And I think for most people, I don't know that prior to this discussion, many people realize the connection between aging and healthy blood sugar levels. And you gave me one of the most beautiful examples one time as we discussed this, and it was the car example. Do you mind giving that real quick?
Yeah, because that's how I think about it, right? We're like an engine, a beautifully tuned, sports car engine that we want to take care of. And our blood sugar, that's like our gas pedal, right? We don't want to slam on that gas pedal and then slam on the brake pedal, where it's much better for the car's engine to gradually, speed up, slow down, keep things gentle. This will extend the life of the car considerably. Same with our bodies. If we're spiking our blood sugar after we eat and then dropping it after we process all that sugar, that's going to wear us out a lot more quickly.
Absolutely. Okay, so one of the things that I think is so important for us to remember is we do a lot of research here at doterra, led by Dr. Stevens. And what that does is it really sets us apart because not only do we have blends that nobody else has, but we have the research behind those blends to prove that they work and how they work, right?
Yes.
So do you mind talking a little bit about the MetaPWR blend specifically, how it was formulated, and then let's dive into the science behind the research project that you led?
I would love to. So, for those of you who've been with doterra for any amount of time, you knew a blend called Slim and Sassy, right? It was great. We loved it. It worked wonderfully. But as scientists, we're always asking questions. And so we wondered, could it work even better? Right? That was the question that led us to start to develop this MetaPWR oil blend. And it was through a process that was new for us. It was kind of a discovery process where we thought, what if we take these same oils and we just put them in different ratios? Is that going to make a difference? We didn't know. We really didn't. So we started doing some testing and we thought, okay, we've got the same oils, right? We've got our cinnamon, ginger, peppermint, lemon, grapefruit. Beautiful blend. Wonderful. Now let's change those levels a little bit and see what we can find. So what I loved about this study, we got some beautiful pictures. Who doesn't love beautiful pictures? But what we really found was that it did make a difference, those levels. So this, when we say it's proprietary and only for doterra, that sounds great. But what it really means is nobody has this. This is a blend that was found by research and we've got the data to prove it. So I want to talk you through what these pictures are showing because they're really amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So we started out by making sure that we were going to see what we wanted to see, right? The researchers took fat cells from humans and grew them in a petri dish. And that's that very first panel that you see. Beautiful, healthy, little slim fat cells, which sounds like an oxymoron, but it's kind of funny. Slim fat cells. We gave them insulin. We gave them sugar. These are signals for those fat cells to start taking on fat globules. And they did. That's what you see in the next picture. All those little red dots inside those fat cells, they got enormous. They grew like fat cells like to do. And you can see then a couple different ways to look at that. There's this confocal fluorescence, which sounds super fancy. All that means is we're looking at it with a different kind of microscope and you can see it in different colors and a different way to see it. But the bottom line is the fat cells grew beautifully. So then that's when the real fun started. We said, what happens when we put these in the presence of Slim and Sassy first? We wanted to see if that worked. And so you see here, we started out with, again, those very beautiful kind of slim fat cells on the day one where they were starting to grow. We were still giving them the signals of insulin, sugar, insulin, sugar. We wanted to see, can Slim and Sassy interrupt that? Can it tell those cells, you're getting all these signals, but really kind of ignore it. Stay small, stay healthy. So as you see the next few panels going along, these are increasing concentrations of that Slim and Sassy. We're saying, here's a little bit more. Does that change the signal? Here's a little bit more. Does that change the signal? And you can see a beautiful progression here. The more Slim and Sassy we started to add, the fat cells were now ignoring the signals to get fatter, get fatter, get fatter, and they stayed slim. So that's that very final panel that you see over there on day 14. Beautiful, slim fat cells. They hadn't gotten big, even though those signals were still there, right? So then came the fun part. We said, okay, let's mix up these ratios. Let's get some new blends to try out. Same oils, different amounts. So that next one that we tried, you can see the very same progression, right? We started with slim fat cells. We started telling them the signals to grow, and we added some more of this oil blend, a little bit more at a time. And I mean, it still kind of worked. You can see it didn't work as well even as Slim and Sassy. So we thought, okay, that is kind of a fail. That's all right. That's science, right? But luckily, we didn't give up. We did a couple more blends and we stumbled upon the one that was better even than Slim and Sassy was. So that's the pictures that you see in this final panel here. Slim fat cells to start out with. Let's give you the signals to grow, and then let's start increasing the amount of oil that we're putting in with those cells. And you can see, even at really, really tiny concentrations, we were interrupting the signal of those fat cells to grow. And they weren't. They were still healthy fat cells, right? And that's an important point. We need healthy fat cells. We don't want to kill them. We just want to interrupt the signals that are telling them to get enormous and grow more than they should.
I love that visual that we did at the very beginning when we first launched MetaPWR. And we talked about the balloon.
Yes.
Right? So most of us, if we were to think of a balloon as a fat cell, we look at that balloon and we're like, the smaller, the better, right? Do I want to keep blowing and see like what is the maximum capacity of this single balloon? And I think that that's another maybe distinguishing part of this conversation is I think when people feel like I'm concerned with fat cell storage, it's not extra fat cells.
Right.
It's not extra fat cells. It's how big those fat cells are getting on their own. And are they taking up a larger amount of space? And everything goes back to what you just said was, it's the signals that we give. Are we either giving the fat cell a signal to store more molecules, or are we giving it the signal to stay more slim? I love it. A slim fat cell.
Slim fat cell. That's our goal, right?
Yeah. So just anytime you think of it, I know sometimes when we look at the science, it gets a little, just go back to the balloon. The balloon is so simple, so easy. We don't want the signal to keep blowing that balloon up to maximum capacity.
Right. That's exactly what our pictures were showing us. And like you said, we're born with most of the fat cells we're going to have. It's just how big can they get? And, they have a capacity to get incredibly enormous if they're given those signals. But the good news is we can interrupt that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And through movement, through lifestyle, you give them the signals to release as well, right? So it's all about the messages that we're giving to our body, which is
whole foods versus processed foods, good sleep versus not enough or poor sleep. All of these things, doTERRA is great about talking about the lifestyle and then these amazing products to really support that and encourage it and potentiate it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have an entire MetaPWR system that was built around supporting metabolic health. Do you mind talking through each of the products in that system and their individual roles? Because I think for a lot of people, they're trying to figure out how they can maybe create their perfect routine, their perfect day. So how do they know which products to use when, why they would reach for them? Does everybody need every single product in the MetaPWR line? Help us walk through that?
Yeah, those are great questions. So the MetaPWR oil blend, of course, we just talked about how amazing it is for sending the right signals for healthy fat storage, right? So this is one that I kind of just do all the time. I want to make sure that signal is there. That's something that's really easy to add in. Yeah. So the other products, we've got our MetaPWR Assist, and this is fantastic for when you want your body to not spike blood sugar after you're eating. So we typically encourage people to use this before their biggest meal of the day, or one that they know that they're going to have a lot of carbohydrates. For some people, that's dinner when they get home from work. For some people, that is breakfast when they're up in the morning. So if you do that, we've seen in our clinical trials that this kind of helps regulate that blood sugar even throughout the day, not just before that meal that you used it. So that was kind of an impressive and interesting finding for us. When that blood sugar is regulated, that you're not slamming on that gas, you're making sure that you are nice and steady throughout the whole day.
I love the visual of like driving with a teenager versus driving with an experienced driver. Nobody prefers the drive with the teenager. So
a little bumpy.
Taking assist is like driving with that experienced driver.
Amen to that. Let's not have those bumps, I say. Let's keep that sports car running, purring like it should be. So, okay, so those two, those are kind of ones that people, I think, could use every day. You've mentioned our not supportive diet system, the things in the store, the packaged foods. So this is something that I really think people could integrate very easily into their diet.
Okay.
Now the advantage, that part is where we're now talking about healthy aging, right? This is where we're going to be sending the signals to our body that we're going to optimize metabolism to last for a long time. We want to keep that sports car running still. Again, something that I think would be beneficial for just about everybody, especially as you're starting to get, past your 30s into the time when you're thinking, okay, I should be paying more attention to my health. You're getting the right signals from this whole system to really optimize that metabolism, set yourself up for some really healthy years to come.
Absolutely. A lot of times when we discuss oils, we always talk about cellular health. And I think for a lot of people that seems like vague. But if our cells aren't doing their job and they can't listen to the signals that we're giving them and and operate in the pathways that they are meant to listen to instruction from, they don't do their job, right? So using something like Advantage, we make those cells even healthier, and then they're able to do their job.
Yeah,
so.
Down to the level of your DNA.
Absolutely.
So it's really powerful.
Very cool. Okay, so real quick, let's talk about a daily routine utilizing MetaPWR essential oil. So do you have a perfect daily routine using your MetaPWR products that works for you?
So yeah, into the water, of course, a couple drops is fantastic. That is probably one of the most classic ways to use it. Or a smoothie, right? Whole fruits or protein powder. Yeah. Whatever it is that you do to kind of power your day is great.
It's one of my favorites. And I'm like you, I love that we have the soft gel available, but I really love putting the oil into my water bottle. I like the flavor. I think for me, it feels more satiating to have like not just plain water. I have the taste of our oils.
Plus you're hydrating.
Plus I'm
which
hydrating.
Yeah.
And then all the amazing benefits. And I love that we've talked about signals over and over again, because that's how the oils work in our body. They're reminding our cells of the pathways that they're meant to operate and listen to. And so now we can kind of be more in control of the pathways, the signals that are happening, where probably most of the time we feel a little out of control, especially when snack time hits in. It's I am a slave to my cravings, but instead here you can take the power back. I love it. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Stevens. Thank you for sharing. And I hope you guys enjoyed all the science behind our amazing MetaPWR blend.
Thanks for joining us on this episode today.
We hope you learned some wonderful nuggets of information about MetaPWR and how it impacts your metabolism. Make sure to leave below any little lessons that you learned from Dr. Nicole Stevens and Lauren Bush in the comments. We want to know what you've gathered today.
We'll see you next time.